Hey there, amazing that you're here at Smack. We hope that you're going to enjoy the content. If so, comment, like, and stay with us. Enjoy what we have for you.
My name is Dr. Jeffrey O, and I'm on the Smack podcast.
Welcome to a new episode of the Smack Hospitality Podcast. My name is Florian Montag, and today I had the great pleasure to welcome Dr. Jeffrey O to the show. Jeffrey is president of IHI, International's Hospitality Institute, a renowned CEO, educator, and much more. He's been recognized as one of the most famous and influential leaders in the world of global hospitality. We spoke about IHI launching its Hospitality Hall of Fame, Jeffrey's uber luxury hospitality brand Saint Justine, and how he finds the time to write novels on the side. Enjoy the show. Hello, Jeffrey, and welcome to the Smack podcast. It's great to have you on the show.
Florian, it's truly a pleasure to be on your podcast. You've got an amazing podcast going, and I've been a big fan of yours, and it's an honor to be on it. Thank you.
It's amazing. We met at IHIF actually a couple months back, and I mean, you're definitely one of the people's most influential leaders in the industry, and it's not just me saying that. It's a lot of different experts who call you that, and you're involved in a lot of different projects. And I would love this today to have the time to look at what you're doing and influencing. But before going into all the great things and how you shape the industry and your love for the industry, which you can truly feel when you speak with you or follow you just on social media, I would love to start off with kind of a story and go back in time and say, like, how did you get into hospitality industry? What was kind of your entry point into this world, where you're flourishing today, of course?
You're very kind, Florian. My dad was going to be very disappointed. He wanted me to be a lawyer, but I had different ideas. I was not interested in law. Nothing wrong with law, but that was not my interest. I always wanted to be in a space where I would interact with people, get to meet people, get to talk to people, learn from people. That fascinates me, the human interaction, the social interaction. So I found that the hotel industry allows me to do that. So I started out in the industry. Years and years ago, I took a job at a hotel, at a Marriott property in Baltimore, Maryland, years and years ago in the United States. And I started as a front desk agent. I loved the job. I did really well at it. I think I did because I got promoted. And eventually I became a night audit manager, then became a front desk manager. And that's how my career started. And I always thought I was going to be a writer at some point. I was going to write books and also work in politics, maybe. My first degree is in political science. So I always thought, I'm going to be in politics. I'm going to run for elected office, and I'm going to write books. That's what I thought my career trajectory was going to look like, but it wasn't to be. I ended up in the hotel industry, working at the front desk, getting promoted to, like I said, front desk manager, front office manager, and my career took off. And eventually I became a general manager of a property. And then from there, ran multiple hotels, different brands, and eventually became, vice president, divisional vice president, COO, and CEO. So that's what my path has been like. It's not been very unconventional, but it's been very, very satisfying for me. My dad, like I said, was disappointed. This is not what he wanted me to do, but he appreciates the fact that I've been very blessed in the path that I've chosen to be on.
So I can follow somewhat in your footsteps. My parents or my father also, both parents are lawyers, and they were also wishing kind of that the law would be my field of passion. But I also went away into hospitality and into the business of people, and amazing to see that you can also have great success without actually studying law. But you've mentioned already a lot of things which I love to unpack, but it's really kind of a beautiful story, right? Which you mentioned is going really through that classic hotel career development, starting at the front desk and ending up as CEO at a certain point of life. how do you see it yourself? Maybe can a front desk agent today still become CEO of a hotel group? Because that's often, we know we have a lot of young professionals and talents who are listening to Smack. What's your take on that, and maybe what's kind of your advice in for the listeners here?
I love that question because you mentioned young people, and my passion really is to be able to inspire the young generations to get into hospitality. It's a beautiful industry. There isn't any industry like it, and I truly mean that. I was fortunate to speak at ALIS last year, and I spoke to a group of students about, hospitality industry, what they can expect from it, how they can grow and develop themselves and achieve all kinds of things in the industry. So to answer your question, there's such a massive pathway for young people who want to get into the hospitality industry. They have opportunities to excel, to do great things, to be amazing leaders. If you start at the front desk, I can't think of any place that's a better place to start. The reason why it worked out so well for me, when you work at the front desk, if you're someone who's shy, you're going to be forced to come out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to interact with people, smile at people. Mr. Montag, welcome to our hotel. We're so glad to have you. How was your trip into town? What can I do for you? Are you looking to go to a restaurant tonight? Do you need a dinner booking? All of those things. You get to interact with people from every culture, different traditions, different countries. So you're going to come out of your shell, whether you like it or not. You develop really solid interpersonal skills. And you and I know, you're in the business. Those interpersonal skills can take you very far in life because you're going to interact with people. You're going to network with people. If you're looking for a job, a lot of the jobs that you're going to get are going to come through your networking rather than from you applying blindly through some, online website. It's really connections. Those connections are massively important. So the front desk allows you to develop all those skills, which are going to pay off for you, in the future. So the front desk is a perfect place to start. It's not the only place to start. There are folks who started out in the kitchen, became restaurant managers, became food and beverage directors, became AGMs and GMs. There are those who started in engineering, became, chief engineer, director of facilities management, general manager, and all of that. There are many paths, but the industry is a beautiful one to be in, and anyone who's considering it should absolutely, absolutely go for it. It's amazing, and they're going to love it.
Yeah, I think it's as you say, it's you get out of the comfort zone at a young age, and kind of something which you learn is kind of that stakeholder management, maybe at a later stage, that from day one you learn to speak to very senior or sophisticated guests and have an interaction that at some point when you kind of learned in the luxury hotels or in a certain segment of hotels, you can speak with anyone in the world.
So
but do you have maybe from your operations time any kind of anecdote, any kind of story with something which happened to you, or a remarkable moment which you think back of in the days?
Yeah, I've had so many stories. When you work in a hotel, you're going to have so many stories. And I always promised myself that I was not going to write a book about my experiences in the hotel industry. I've written and had several books published, but I've never written one that focuses on the industry because I don't want to, as I say, kiss and tell or really share, certain things. I want to respect the privacy of folks that I have been fortunate to work with. But I do have many fascinating stories. I've had so many. I've had the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've had wacky stories happen. I've had inspirational stories. I had a gentleman in a particular hotel. Now, this belongs in the wacky story section. I'm going to also go
I
to
love that. Wacky stories Smack is the perfect format for wacky stories.
I had a gentleman who was in a hotel that I used to manage, and middle of the night, I think the gentleman had a little bit too much to drink, and he was running up and down the hallways in the nude, completely unclothed, running around naked and knocking on people's random doors, saying, "Let me in my room, let me in my room." So, of course, he locked himself out. He didn't know what room he belonged in. So he was randomly knocking. So he was completely out of it. So eventually, the team went upstairs to assist him, and they were able to figure out his name. I went in the system, checked, and found out that he was indeed a guest of the hotel. And they took him up to his room, gave him his key, and he went back in his room, and that was that. The next morning, the gentleman, showed up at the front desk, and you could tell he was a little bit embarrassed, and he asked to speak to the manager and say, I apologize for what I did. I drank a little bit too much, and I thank you for you being patient with me. And I'm sorry I made a fool of myself. He didn't quite use the word fool. He used another term, which is a bit more harsh on himself. But, he's a human being, and, he just had a little bit to drink. So that's one.
I mean, we have a new format at Smack with it's called Dirty Laundry, where listeners can share stories out of their hotel lives, and the speakers, they speak about it and kind of give it a judgment. Next time you're in Berlin, we'll invite you for that format, and then have a 20-minute session of Dirty Laundry where we can tell hotel stories and share our judgments to it.
That.
But looking at coming back to your career and also your achievements and as we can really see, you have that personality of being coaching and driving people. You made then in 2020 that step of kind of going out of more like hotel management and more into actually it's called telecoach, right?
Yes.
Where you became a chairman. Was that or chairman of the board of directors, so maybe not fully operational there, but it was coaching, mentorship always a big topic for you, or how come that switch of career a little bit, or maybe not?
Yes. Yeah, coaching has always been very important to me. I think it's very important to give back, to add value to other people's lives. And the question I like to ask myself every day, every single day is, how have you added value to someone's life today? What have you done to enhance someone's life today? Every single day, I want to be able to go to bed saying to myself, I did this and I did that. And adding value to someone's life does not involve giving them money. It can be you just giving them a word of advice. It can be you saying, I love that hairstyle. Oh, that's a great jacket you've got on. Nice watch. That's very nice. Or you could say, I love what you're doing. You're doing a great job at XYZ. Whatever it might be. It could be helping someone who's blind cross the street. It could be giving money to someone to help them. It could be mentoring someone who needs your advice, taking time to give them advice. All of that is adding value. Every single day that we're alive, we must be adding value to other people's lives. Life cannot simply be about eating, drinking, and having a fun time. All of that is good. But at the end of the day, what we're going to be remembered for is the legacy that we built, is the lives that we impacted, is how we made people feel on a certain day. So all of those things are very important to me. And that's the reason why I got into coaching. And I wanted to be able to give back. And all the coaching work that I did, you're going to find this to be very, very surprising. I have not received a penny. This is something I'm able to give and help and learn from people that I'm sharing information. When you're talking to people, you can learn from them and they can learn from you. Why do you need to pay me? You don't need to pay me, because in giving you the little wisdom that I have, I'm also benefiting from all the wisdom that you have. So you don't need to pay me. There doesn't need to be an exchange of money for that. And one of the awards that I'm very proud of that I have received is a People's Choice Award that I received from Otolo. Otolo is a UK-based organization. And I was recognized with an award for mentoring. And that really is very important to me. I've got a lot of awards, but that's special to me because it relates specifically to mentoring, something that I am very, very proud of. People reach out to me on LinkedIn and social media every day, asking me for ideas and questions, and looking for a job, looking to switch careers, looking to get into hospitality, looking to start a company and all of that. And I always try as much as possible to find time to respond to them. So I love coaching. I've developed a few things in the world of coaching. And, I don't know if you've got enough time to talk about that, but I actually have developed a coaching matrix, a coaching style. You mentioned Telecoach. Yes, I'm the chairman of Telecoach, and I was involved in Telecoach, in founding Telecoach, which was an online coaching platform for people from all over the world. A platform. It had an app on the App Store, different apps, and all of that. So that's only one of the things I've been involved in. I'm involved in many things, and that's only one of them.
Yeah. So you really say it's about that intrinsic feeling. So, but where does this humbleness come from in a sense from your side, where you really say, hey, I want to give back. I want to learn. I want to have these conversations. Is that something you were raised with as a kid? Was it something you grew up with, working in hospitality? Is it something you just naturally had, or where? Because it's not a given, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's an excellent question, Florian. I think it's a combination of all the factors you mentioned. I have the words greatest dad. I had the words greatest mom. Very humble people. My dad is highly educated. My mom, on the other hand, you're going to find it surprising, could barely read or write. And I always wondered how someone like my dad, who is really super educated, ended up with someone like my mom who could barely read or write. And what I realized is that my dad was a humble man and he looked beyond the education of the person he was going to be with. My mom was super smart. Clearly, she was super smart, but she was not educated. She didn't have book learning, but she was very smart. She was very humble. She was very compassionate. My dad and mom taught me the value of honesty. They taught me about hard work. They taught me about belief in humanity. I believe there is a lot of good in human beings. We just have to find it. We focus so much on the negative. We don't spend time finding the positive in people. The world is a great place. There are many great people out there. We just have to be willing to find it. That's how I look at life. And humility to me, why would I not be humble? I'm very blessed. I get to wake up. I have a beautiful family. I have eyes I can see. I can hear. I can talk to you. I can interact with people. I can meet wonderful people like you. And I get to learn from you and learn from other people. Every day I wake up is a joy. I should be thankful to God for all the blessings that I have. I should go out. I want to give back to people and cherish all the goodness that I have because I could be dead. I could be sick with cancer. I'm not special any more special than all the people who are dead, all the people who are sick in
Yeah.
hospitals, all the people who are blind, who can't hear. I'm no better than them. I'm no smarter than them. I'm just lucky. It's by God's grace that I am here. So that's my attitude toward life. Every day is a blessing, and every day is an opportunity to add value to the life of someone else. And your title doesn't matter, whether you're, CEO, COO. Even when as a CEO, I go to hotels and I travel and I interact with everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're the one who cleans the toilets. I don't treat you any differently from the person who's the CEO. Every human being has value. It doesn't matter how much money they make. It doesn't matter what title they have. Every human being has value. And I love what you said about intrinsic. That's a very powerful word, intrinsic, something that's there on its own. It's there on its own. You don't have to add to it. It's just there. It comes with the package. It's there. Every human being has
Yeah.
intrinsic value, and we have to respect that. And if we respect that, then we're going to be humble in dealing with everyone. And that's my philosophy.
Yeah, truly, truly, truly fascinating and inspirational. It's I think it really, after hearing that, I would also say, and knowing you, the little I do, is there could not be a better fit for being somebody as president for the International Hospitality Institute, which is there to drive global advocacy training in the whole hospitality industry and being a leader and advocate for the industry, which I think, as you say, it's hospitality businesses or hotels are so different that you have a company with so much different kind of levels of workers
Mhm.
working together and all creating one experience and needing to be part of one vision, one company mission as well. Can you share, maybe for the ones who don't know, International Hospitality Institute, what you do there, or what does the institute do?
Yeah. IHI, which is what everyone calls that, the International Hospitality Institute, is really focused on global education for the hospitality industry. But beyond education, we're also involved in advocacy. We want to be able to promote initiatives that are going to help drive, advance our industry. So education, advocacy, we do training, we do all of these things. We also have recognition. We want to recognize people who are doing great things in the industry. As an example, Smack Podcast is one of the top podcasts in the industry that's doing great things. It's based in, you're not based in the US, but your work is global. You're touching different aspects of hospitality. You're talking to people, bringing together stakeholders from all over the world. We want our community and the global community to know about Smack Podcast because Smack Podcast is doing great things. So IHI is focused on education, on recognition, on advocacy, all of those things we do. So, but IHI is no, a lot of people think about IHI in terms of the education piece, but they don't always remember the recognition piece. We've got the Global Hospitality Awards. We've got different categories of awards. The 100 most influential people in hospitality. In Europe, we've done Middle East, we've done Asia. Different countries. I think the last release was the 100 most influential people in the Middle East. That came out, I think, about 2 weeks ago. We've got the USA coming up this month, and we've got the global one coming up in December. So we do all of those things. We've got the Julian Star Award, which is awarded to people who are operating at the very top pinnacle, the very highest levels of service, delivering the highest level of hospitality to their guests. We've got different things we're doing. And now we've got the Hall of Fame, the International Hospitality Hall of Fame, which was launched this year. And really very, very excited to talk about that. Because
tell me more. That's something new which you're launching, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes. It's been launched by IHIEF. IHIEF is a non-profit 501c3 organization which was created by the International Hospitality Institute. So IHIEF stands for International Hospitality Institute's Educational Foundation. So we give out scholarships to people who want to get involved in the industry, who are already in the industry. We give out scholarships. They don't have to be members of our organization. Anyone can apply and get a scholarship toward education and hospitality. We sponsor and organize those scholarships annually. The next one is coming up, actually, between the end of this month and November. That's going to be publicized. So we do that. We also have the Hall of Fame, which I talked about, the International Hospitality Hall of Fame. So what happened is we brought together 33 judges from all over the world, people who are eminent leaders who've done great things for the industry to be involved in it. And these judges selected the honorees for 2023 International Hospitality Hall of Fame. So we've got some honorees there that I'm sure you know most of them. You've got people like Bill Marriott Jr., you've got Horst Schuze, who's my colleague. I sent Justine and a mentor and a great friend of mine. You've got people like, Sheila, Johnson. You've got people like Conrad Hilton. You've got so many luminaries that you and I know who've done amazing things for the industry. We want to recognize these ladies and gentlemen, celebrate their achievements, and encourage people to join the world of hospitality because it's an amazing place to be. And the only way you're going to make it sexy, if you will, make it appealing to people who are not in hospitality, is at least by recognizing the people who've done great things for the industry. We think is very, very important. And that's why we sponsor the Hall of Fame. And you're going to be hearing a lot more about it in the next few weeks. Really excited to be a part of that. And we're very thankful to the board of judges who came together to be part of this really notable enterprise.
Yeah, it's incredible. I had a look at the Hall of Fame judges. Also, we had Hilda Perez, who's just moved from JLL to Accor. So everybody who's listening, in the footnotes from the podcast, you can also listen to some inspirational leaders there, and it looks like an amazing combination of hospitality leaders. It's not and very diverse. Also, not just US, not just Europe. It's different. It's really nice to see that it's a very comprehensive list of leaders coming together for this Hall of Fame.
Yes. Yeah, diversity is very important to us. The world is a big place, and it's not just the USA, it's not just Germany, it's not just the UK, it's not just the UAE. It's people from all parts of the world, and they need to have a voice. They need to be represented as much as possible. So we do care about those things. And that's what makes our industry so beautiful. I can't think of any other industry that has people from different parts of the world, working in a hotel. I mean, I used to work in a hotel, and I used to joke with my team that it was like the United Nations. Because in this particular hotel that I worked in, you probably had people from 80, 90, or 60 countries. I mean, it were people from everywhere. The housekeeping department alone had people from 20 or 25 countries working in it. Different people. That's what makes it so beautiful, and I love it. And I can't imagine being part of any other industry. It's just so amazing, and it's just a blessing to be a part of it.
Definitely, and I'll get back to also your latest project or company you're driving with Saint Justine, which is an amazing concept. But I want to really dig deep also quickly on you've done so much other things besides kind of your whole hotel career and IHI and all of these topics. You've just also been a fiction or non-fiction and fiction writer. Where do you find the time, the inspiration to write novels, and which one would you recommend from your books you wrote?
I love that question. My wife thinks I'm nuts regarding time. She thinks I'm nuts. And recently I decided to go back to school to get another master's degree. And I got into Columbia University in New York. They've got the #1 graduate education program in the world. And I want to keep learning and expanding my horizons and improving myself and learning from people who are much more smarter than I could ever be. So I decided to go back to school. My wife said to me, "You are nuts. I don't know how you're going to find time for all this, but you're completely crazy." So anyway, so I push myself. I love to push myself and really test my limits and see how far I can push myself. I love that. I love to challenge myself regarding time. Regarding books, I love to write. I mean, writing is a passion for me. If hospitality is my first child, writing is my second child. So I love to write. I can't help it. And I've written several books, fiction and nonfiction. You asked which is my favorite one. The one that's my favorite is not the one that's the most popular one. So the one that's my favorite is the one that no one seems to have read. So it's a book of literary fiction, and what it does, it takes the reader on a junket throughout different parts of the world. You've got characters in India, characters in Mexico, characters in Japan, different parts of the world, and you get to read their stories. You hear the interior dialogue, interior conversations with themselves. And I love the book, but no one else seems to love the book. It didn't sell. It didn't sell. So that was my poorest one that no one bought. Now, the one that's actually been a bestseller of sorts, that's done really, really well, it's a thriller. It's called Dead or Alive. And if you look it up, you see Dead or Alive. It's about 450 or 500 pages. It's a thriller about a gentleman in New York. I'm not going to give away the story for those who have not read the book, but it's actually been the best-selling book I've written. It's done really well. It's done way better than I thought it would. It has some great reviews. Kirkus Reviews, which reviews books globally. If you know Kirkus Reviews, wrote a very flattering review about the book. They use terms like superlative and fast-paced, and they raved about the book, which was very it was very fulfilling to read all of that from someone else. So anyway, it's done very well. It's my favorite book of all that I've written, but I've written a few. I've written quite a few. If you go to my website, jeffreyo.com, you're going to see all of the books at jeffreyo.com.
So when you write, is it about just completely things outside of your experiences, or is it a way of processing what you see every day and do every day, kind of also maybe as a stress relief? Or maybe a first question, are you ever stressed? Are you ever kind of at the limit, or do you have a endless battery?
Yeah. I have a lot of energy and stamina. I'm a long distance runner. I mean, I'll wake up and run 15, 16 miles in a day, so I am very disciplined in my living habits, so I'm very resilient, right? I'm very tough mentally, and I don't give up and I don't quit. And I don't sit around and feel sorry for myself, because, life is short. We don't have time to sit around feeling sorry for ourselves. We're only going to be here for a while. So while we're here, let's maximize the time we've got.
Yeah.
That's my mindset. So I write out of my experiences, and a lot of it has to do with the knowledge and information that I get from people like you and people that I'm fortunate to interact with. I talk to people. I get in an Uber. I engage the Uber driver in conversations. I want to learn about their lives, where they're from, how they got into working for Uber, their kids, their families, the school, their culture. I like to soak all this in. I like to learn as much about people as I possibly can. And I think my experience in hospitality helped refine those skills of being intellectually curious, because you only learn if you're intellectually curious. One of my favorite quotes is by Gandhi, whom everyone knows. Gandhi said, "Live as if you will die tomorrow. Learn as if you will live forever." That's how I approach life. I want to live as if I will die tomorrow. Do all the things I possibly can do today as if I will die tomorrow. And I want to learn as much as I can as if I will live forever, to use all of that knowledge. That's my approach to life. So I am intellectually curious. and I want to ask questions. I want to learn from people. And all of that information helps me when I sit down to write a book. And when I start writing, I write very, very quickly. I write really
Mhm.
fast. Dead or Alive, which, like I said, is the bestseller of all the books I've written, took me probably 3 weeks to write. And it's about 500 pages or so. And I was writing it while holding down a full-time job. So I'll come home and spend a few hours and write and continue the next day. And all of my books I write. I've never had anyone write any book for me. So I've had ghostwriters pitching me on LinkedIn saying, "Hey, Jeffrey, we'd like to help you write a book." I'm like, no, 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 no. Thank you. I appreciate the offer, but no, I write my own books. I don't need your help me write a book. But thank you nonetheless.
I I I love what you're saying, and also I think, as you say, it's I think the sport and long distance runner um, is definitely something which gives you this endurance and being resilient. But how do you manage your day to day? Because you have, of course, travels around the world. You have multiple roles in multiple boards, as well as more active roles. How do you prioritize a day to day, or how does a day to day look like
Yes.
for you?
Excellent question, Florian. I tell you, I like to give the credit to my assistant. I've got an assistant who's amazing, who makes me, appear to be much smarter than I actually am. She helps manage my schedule. She helps keep me on track of things. She tells me, "Hey, do this and do that." When I'm doing a podcast, she, sets everything up nicely. For instance, she set this up and said, "Okay, make sure the camera, the lights are perfect." I have no idea how to set up these lights. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do it. I'm not that smart. But she's just amazing, and she's been a great asset to me in helping me just get organized. So she gets most of the credit. Also, I like to write down things. I like to plan a calendar. Google allows you to do that. Calendly, it's a great tool, allows you to do that. There's so many tools out there. You're much better at technology than I could ever be. So you know all the tools. I am still learning. There's a lot I still need to learn, but I try to use all of those tools to plan my day so I'm not overwhelmed, so I don't take on too much. What I also try to do is try to find a balance, because you can't go, 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 go all the time. At some point, you need to unwind and learn how to decompress. So I'm getting better at that. Having those quiet moments when you sit down and read a book, when you listen to some beautiful music, when you turn off the TV and turn off all the noise and you just get to relax. When you go walking in a park, when you sit on a park bench by yourself reading a book, when you go to a library and sit there surrounded by all these books and you just go through a book. I love all of those quiet moments. I'm trying to work to get that work-life balance in place. But I'll tell you this, Florian, I am not where I need to be yet. It's still a struggle for me. I'm a work in progress. It may look like I have it all figured out, but I don't. There are many days that I'm scrambling. There are many days I'm stressed out with my schedule. I'm trying to, get, on top of things. But it's a work in progress. But I don't mind the travel. I do an extensive amount of travel. I'm in different continents at different times in different cities, but I love it. I get to meet people. That's how you and I met for the first time. I mean, I knew of you. I knew of what you've done. I knew of Smack podcast and all the great things you've done professionally, aside from Smack and also with Smack. But being in Berlin and meeting you was an opportunity. And when I saw you, we got introduced, and I said, "Hey, that's Florian Montag. That's him." And we became like buddies right on the spot. So I love all of that. And without hospitality, without being involved in hospitality, I don't know if I would have met you. And now I find that you and I are like kindred souls. Our dads both wanted us to be lawyers. We both ended up in hospitality. We're both into running and sports and all of that. How amazing is that? Thanks to
Yeah,
hospitality.
I mean, I would be more than delighted if my career and all of that follows just in similar footsteps
You're kind.
than yours. But as you say, and I love that myself. And it's as when you travel a lot, and also I'm also at a couple conferences or meetings around. Um, Also, often the question is like, why do you do that? And of course, there's the business part to it. But of course, at the same time, it's really fascinating to have these amazing conversations. And I think hospitality industry is also an industry where people are open for conversations from different levels. And with my previous startup, when I came to the industry very young, I was embraced very openly by people, and haven't given a chance and the ability to speak to people, which is an amazing kind of experience, and where you fully kind of buy in, and you drink the Kool-Aid when people welcome you, and yeah,
So true.
embrace kind of young talents, because I think that's also maybe a shift in the industry. I think maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was a bit more kind of hierarchy, and
Yes.
who wears the tie and who doesn't,
It's
and all of
changed.
that. And nowadays it's like, we need young people, we need
We do.
diversity,
We
internationalization,
do.
all of that together
We
to
need all of
succeed as an industry.
So true. So well put. So true. Absolutely. And you're a clear example of that. I mean, I think you live in Berlin, right? Or close to
Yeah,
Berlin. So you
yeah,
live in Berlin. I mean, you speak English fluently, and that's amazing. That's what hospitality is about. You're able to have a conversation with someone who doesn't speak German. I've got a great friend and colleague, and he actually is the founder of the Hoteliers Guild, and Frank Fowler, great gentleman, and I am the current chairman of the Hoteliers Guild Academy of Hospitality, Arts, and a great organization that's doing amazing things. The reason I mentioned the Hoteliers Guild is because the Hoteliers Guild is giving out scholarships to young students from Africa, people who come from very poor background, people who could be destitute, who could be really, really impoverished background. And the Hoteliers Guild is finding those folks and giving them scholarships to come to Europe to study, to get college degrees. And that's amazing. And that's why I'm so proud to be involved in the Hoteliers Guild and what Frank Fowler is doing. Frank Fowler is based he's in Lugano, Ticino in Switzerland, but he's from Germany. So he speaks fluent English and he speaks fluent German. And I envy him, like I envy you. I wish I could do that. I wish I could speak fluent German or fluent Spanish or fluent French rather than just speaking English. So when you talk about internationalization of our industry, I love that. You make an excellent point, Florian.
yeah. I mean, that's also the European life, right? Which, of course, the border crossings and all of that is which is nice. It's really beautiful to be able to speak in a day. I speak some French in the morning, some German at some point, then English in the afternoon, and being able to do that. But also, looking a little bit at time, and I really want to learn more about one of your big projects which you have at the moment, and um, Saint Justine Hotel. So it's a hotel group which you're building. It's not just any kind of the hotel which you've seen already multiple kind of cookie cutter brands in that sense, but it's, correct me if I'm wrong, it's luxury connected with a digital mindset, kind of luxury for the 21st century. How would you describe Saint Justine, as a concept and as a vision?
Yeah. Saint Justine is really about what I call transformational luxury. And it's really ultra lux, not just luxury, but it's transformational luxury. It's luxury that's really, truly memorable. A lot of hotels build their branding around beautiful properties. And I've always believed that true luxury is not about just the asset, it's about the people who are inside of the asset. Great hotels are made by great people. It's not just about having a beautiful building. So what Saint Justine is about is redefining what luxury is about, or what luxury should be about, by making sure that the facility itself, the amenities are absolutely amazing, but the people in it are amazing. Which means that when Florian checks into a Saint Justine property, we are going to know his name. We're going to use his name. We're going to know the name of his partner. We're going to know where he's coming from. We're going to know what languages he speaks. We're going to do what we call deep profiling to fully understand the totality of what Florian Montag is. When you show up, we're going to customize your stay based on all of those things. Everything that you like, the kind of drink you like, the kind of scent that you like to have in your room when you walk into your room, the kind of bedding preferences that you like, the kind of pillows that you like, if it's feather pillows, if it's whatever you like. We want to make sure that you have all of that, and it's delivered to you in a way that incorporates technology, but technology is not in the way. You get what I mean? We don't want to have technology that becomes an obstacle, because not everyone who comes into a hotel has Florian's level of tech savvy. There are people who don't know how to press a certain button on the remote. They say, okay, how do I operate this? We want to cater to everyone. So we use technology to enhance, but not to detract from the experience of staying at a luxury property. And the stay is truly transformational in every respect. And it's not based on only how nice your rooms are. It's the level of luxury that you deliver, the level of personalization and customization, which means every step of the way, your stay is customized, is personalized. From the food that you get to the scent that's in your room, to how your clothes are ironed, how you love to have them ironed for you. All of that is personalized. And when you stay, when you leave the property, it's not only about the stay experience, it's the pre-stay, the stay, and the post-stay. How we follow up with you after you leave the property, how we follow up with you before you arrive at the property. All of those things. That's the concept. Implementing ultra lux or transformational luxury is very, very expensive. We don't expect to be in every market. If you look at the Ritz-Carlton brand, which was Shuzi, the legend, helped, found the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company, you will see that there aren't 3,000 Ritz-Carlton hotels in the world. They aren't. Because true luxury is not about quantity, it's about quality. That's why you don't have 3,000 Ritz-Carltons. That's why you don't have 3,000 Four Seasons. The last I checked, you probably had 120 or 30 Ritz-Carltons. Four Seasons, I believe you had less than 200 of them, I believe. So you don't have 2,000 Four Seasons. You don't have 5,000 Ritz-Carltons, because true luxury is intimate. And true luxury is about quality, not about quantity. So our idea is to play in certain markets, not everywhere. We expect our first opening to happen next year in Miami. Really excited about that. We've got other markets we're looking at as well. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, there's some really great opportunities there. Dubai, Greece, we have conversations going on there. We're going to be making some announcements in the next few months. But really excited about what St. Justine is about. We're not trying to appeal to everyone. We know that it's not for everyone. But for those who want it and can afford it, they're going to get that experience, truly experiential luxury.
I love it. I mean, I come from more the of course in the last few years more the technology aspect, but with a hotel background, and I always admired already kind of Four Seasons going kind of the different wave, and many kind of luxury brands where they try to say, hey, yeah, we need to have a super app, and how successful or not that is, I think that it's the effort already. But actually, as you say, it's starting a luxury or ultra luxury brand nowadays. If you want to differentiate, you need to have technology and digital in the DNA. And it's not about technology. Is not about saying no more service, but in half of our world is on our mobile phone, right? So if we say in a hotel we don't care about that experience, then half of that digital or half of the whole experience is neglected.
So true.
And I think this is something which we slowly see more, and I'm really looking forward to the first Saint Justine and see how you will interpret this and bring that further to market.
Yeah, I always say that technology is like a moving train. You can get inside of it, or you can get under it. It's coming. You can't stop it. So technology is very embedded in the DNA of Saint Justine, because that's how you're going to be able to deliver the levels of customization and personalization that's required to deliver a truly luxurious experience. There's just no other way to do it other than that. Deep profiling is a huge part of it. Being able to know what the guest wants, being able to be anticipatory, anticipate what they want, give it to them when they're not even expecting it. All of those things, you can deliver them through using technology smartly. So we're very much on board with that. Very, very important.
Wonderful. And I mean, we're close to the end of the podcast. You said the first Saint Justine is opening
Miami
in Miami 2024.
Really excited about that. Yes.
So all the students out there, hospitality students, I'm sure there's going to be some internships which might be open. So for all the hospitality students, definitely put that on your agenda. Jeffrey, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show. It was a great, inspirational conversation, and also to follow you and all of the projects. I wish you all the best with Hall of Fame, which is going to be launched in the next couple of weeks. Yes. But of course, also with the big project, Saint Justine. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Florian. I truly appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me learn from you. And it truly was a pleasure to meet you in Berlin and to spend some time with you. And I'm very thankful for that opportunity. And please thank the entire team at SMAC for your great work. You're doing really excellent work with SMAC podcast. So go SMAC.
That's it for this episode, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to share your thoughts on this episode and everything else that is going on at SMAC with us by checking out our website at smack.media or connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram. We'll see you next time.
Hey there, you still here? I'm still here. Amazing. We really hope you liked the show. If so, comment below, like, follow, and share all your thoughts with us. And don't forget, there's much more social media channels out there, and we want to have you on all of them. So stay a friend of SMAC, and I hope you see you again.